place of this nation has been Dr. Price, that is telling you what you should be listening to. And I've spoken all over this country and all over the world representing presidents and governors. And he is the only minister I've run into so far that violates all the social norms that were exacted on black folk back in the 1790s as this country began to move into an evangelical movement. And they decided in the 1790s that it is now permissible to have a black preacher or to have black folk invest themselves into a religious experience. And the establishment in this country said, yes, we will let blacks have their own separate services. But we must pick the minister. We must pick a minister that is controllable. And we must tell him exactly what he's supposed to do. We will license the ministers. So by the 1720s, the entire establishment in this country has set up a system saying that any black minister in this country, he has an admonishment. He must teach black folk three things so that religion will become a control device to help us maintain the status quo on black folk in this country. He says every black minister who we select or we license, they must teach black folk. First of all, when you talk about the Bible, you talk about the master and the slave, you are talking about the white master on earth and the black slave. You must certainly teach black folk to be humble and obedient and accept their life lot, and to be respectful and loyal to the white servant, to the white master. And lastly, you must teach black folk. You must teach black folk that they will get theirs in the hereafter, in pie in the sky. And that went into effect in the 1820s, and every black minister fell in the line and did it. And he stayed like that until after the Civil War, when 119 blacks on October the 19th walked into St. Paul's Church, Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina, and said, we can't take it anymore. As black folk, the suffering is too acute. And said we must at least have 40 acres and a mule or something. You cannot just turn us loose, free, and say we are free, and give us non-economic emancipation where we are penniless, poor, impoverished, sick, broken, busted, uneducated, ignorant, homeless, nothing, and say we are now free. And that is the only minister, Dr. Price, that I've heard that understands that.
Peace, salam, shalom, Black African power. Welcome again, family, to the newest installment of the Raising Awareness Group Blog Talk. We, as some of you already know, discuss multiple topics directly involving our community. As the new year in America approaches, stolen people from the continent will continue to make positive strides in this country. As we continue to move forward in building, we need to advance in our fundamental skills of good business sense, skills, and economics. Our struggles have been converting into accomplishments and making stable conditions for the future generations. As we all should know, group economics, proper spending, and smart investments are key to anyone who strives for success. We all know by now that Europeans, Arabs, Chinese, Koreans, Jews, and even Mexicans, their dollars are never spent with blacks or in our businesses. Or better yet, they will never enlighten us to business savvy skills. Our motto should be black dollars should stay with black businesses. We've already had the model of how blacks can strive without white economics in this country, and we certainly can do it again. We praise Black Wall Street day in, day out. We have to mimic them. We have to do it again. We're much bigger than just being a customer or a consumer in this world. Our ancestors made much with little. The basics of economics have never changed, and it's not rocket science. But we can't rely on white-centered schools to teach our children about what credits, debits, loans, interest rates, mortgages, assets, or even banking skills are. Too many of our people are coming out of college and even high school with bad credit. and no idea how to even fill out a business plan, ask for a loan, do tax returns, or even find out what their credit score is. This solely relies on us. Remember the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? Well, this duty is on us. We have to take the bull by the horns, or as I'll say it, each one teach one. So tonight we'll discuss with our panel this topic. We have Brother Akil, Brother Kevin Williams, myself, Brother Afrikan, and we have a very special guest host, a good friend of ours. We have Brother Garfield Reid on. Brother Garfield, are you there?
Yes, sir. Peace and blessings, brother.
Peace and blessings, brother. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for representing Armin Rock Squad and also Team Osiris. Brother, let's talk. We have a lot of issues in our community. Black people are working. Let's stop it with the stereotypes and black people are working. Well, we're just the common people. There's nothing rocket science behind it. We're living like regular Americans here, but we're kind of stagnant a little bit because when you look around in our community, you could probably agree we're not spending our funds right, mismanagement of our funds, and just in general in our communities, we don't own the business, and that's clearly lacking. I could actually recall, growing up here in Philly, the businesses were black-owned, and that wasn't that far along. Yes, I'm in my late 30s. I ain't going to give it away. But the businesses were black-owned here, especially in the late 70s, late 70s, mid 80s. That generation, we had the businesses, and we had a couple of issues. We had the crack epidemic. I think some of us got pacified, and just maybe a little lazy. I could say it, but the businesses were there, but the inheritance weren't. So let me just ask you, just start starting off. First of all, just give me a little bit about what you do and what are you doing to help the community get better with group spending, group economics, and investments. So let me give you the floor before I go over some questions, Q&As with you.
All right, beautiful. First of all, man, let me just say I appreciate the invite. I appreciate the love and the respect. I appreciate your program, what you're trying to do. And I'm going to do my best to answer and inform the public to the best of my ability. First and foremost, my name is Garfield A. Reid. If you need to get in contact with me, I do have a website. It's called affordablebusinessconsultants.org. If you need to reach me through another way, you could always contact me on Facebook, Garfield A. Reid. You could message me. I'm not the type of brother that don't respond to messages and so forth. I might not respond right away, but I will respond. There are things that's affecting us as a community that, it saddens me to really talk about where we're at as far as what we're doing with the power that we have, that $1 trillion power. But let me just give you guys a simple background of what I do. I used to be on 93.5 FM in the mornings in New York City. I used to talk to between 5 and 10 million people every morning, and that's what I used to do. And till it got to the point where I was just tired. We had people call in and, we'd make a lot of money for repairing their credit and so forth. I wasn't really into funding then. But then I branched off on my own, and I started to, fixing people's credit on my own and building their credit files and funding them. That's pretty much my expertise right now, what I do. I look at your file, tell you what you need to do, and then I assign someone to your file to help you build it up. If I don't do it myself, I have a team. And then we get you all type of funding. We could get you, $250,000 here, $250,000 there. We tell you if you need to set up a business corporation, which is easier for funding with the personal. So, there's a couple of things that I do. But pretty much what I do is I fund people, help them start businesses, help people in the community, strangers, perfect strangers who I don't know to start up. And if they need money to start up on a business, they need $50,000 here, $1,000 here. I'm the person basically that help them. All right?
Cool. Peace, Brother Garfield. This is our brother Kevin Williams.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty impressive, man. That's pretty impressive. I'll start off with a question with Shoa. So you talk about, you pretty much you're like a credit repair guy. But I have a question, and maybe most question that most people in the black community must know. What is the difference between credit and debt? Credit versus debt. Could you elaborate that?
All right. Credit is when some sort of basically credit is imaginary money. That's pretty much what credit is. If I come to you now and you apply for credit, meaning like a credit card and so forth, you're getting money that you don't really have. So they're lending you money and they're going to charge you an interest to use this money that really don't exist. That's pretty much what credit is. Now debt is when you use the money that don't exist and they charge you an interest, and every month they charge you for the money that really don't exist, the interest on that money. Sounds crazy, but that's pretty much what it is. There's no money exchange in hands, nothing. So pretty much if you get a credit of like a car, it's one of the craziest things, ladies and gentlemen that's listening. When you buy a car, you really don't own, there's no money being exchanged or anything. What they're doing is charging you interest on a loan that pretty much they paid off for the car already, and they're charging you pretty much, you got credit. You got, so like you buy a $20,000 car, they pretty much give you a loan for the $20,000 plus they add interest based on the percentage rate that you get approved for. So pretty much credit is an extension. Somebody's lending you money, lending you credit. So that's pretty much what it is. Credit. It's nothing. Debt is when you start using that supposed credit and you owe that money now that you use up, and that's what a debt is.
Let me ask you. So wouldn't it be smart if you get your credit, you get your loan from your credit? Wouldn't it be smart to put that money, imaginary money, up in, say like a savings account to draw interest, so you can actually pay back some of that money off that debt that you accumulate?
All right. Let me answer it this way, because some folks have a purpose for borrowing money. Some people just want to borrow money to say, hey, I actually have this money. You know what I'm saying? So I could do whatever I want to do with it and so forth, waste money, whatever. Some people borrow money to pay off bills. So it depends on the situation, and it does make sense to invest money when you borrow it. But it depends on what your situation is. Some people might have excellent credit. Some people might not have excellent credit. They might need this to pay off some bills to let things go by. Some people might live paycheck to paycheck. So it depends on the situation why you get the money. But it does make sense to invest whatever money you get into something that could recoup that money that you borrowed and more money. This is what happened. They don't teach you in schools. They teach you how to be a consumer. They don't teach you how to be a producer, to produce stuff. And that's what's wrong with it's capitalism, but the bottom line is they teach you how to become a slave to the system instead of you trying to develop your own system so people could actually work for you. So yes, it makes sense to invest the money, but it depends on the situation the person is in. So that's what I do too. I actually do a lot of consulting and let them make decisions as far as what they should invest in. If they're investing in a future for their children, it also depends on their job, their current situation, and everything. So it just depends. Every situation is different. My credit right now is 845. That's my lowest score. Your score might be 745. So we're in two different brackets, two different scenarios. You know what I'm saying? You might make more money, but my credit is more sexier. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on the situation that the person is in.
That's a good question. Hey, that's good information. I appreciate that, Brother Garfield. Now let's go over some Q&A. Let's talk about investments. How about that? Let's talk about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What now? To the best of your knowledge, what investments should, or not even investments? How about this? What should black people be spending their money on? What as far as value?
I'm gonna give
a lot of black people. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. What should they be spending money on? They should be. You know what? I'm going to say this to you, brother, and a lot of people might not pay attention to this, but listen to this very carefully. as somebody, I'm from Jamaica, right? But I grew up here. I spent a lot of years and grew up in my youth in Jamaica, came up here in my teenager years. Now, as a American, I'm going to use that term. I don't consider myself that in any shape or form in the sense of the word. You know, all these Moors and all these idiots. Oh, you say you're American. No, I'm just making a point. If I'm now an American, living in America, and now I'm an American citizen, right? I am now a part of this culture. And as a black man in this culture, I am obligated, if there's no written law, I'm obligated to support my own. That's an unwritten law for every single black person in America. You don't need, I don't need a blog talk show or anybody to tell me to do for self. It's automatic. From I came out my mother's womb, as long as I'm in this country, I'm supposed to support my own. Now, saying that, if anybody who wants to invest in anything at all, talk about support first. We need to support our own black businesses. We need to. And the reason being, it sounds corny. We say it so much times, but I'm obligated to say it while I'm on the public airwaves. I have to say it. I will need to remind people, you have to support your own. If you don't support your own, we're not going to reach anywhere as far as us building empires within our own culture. Because the Jewish people build empires within their own culture, meaning that hundreds of thousands of them are rich based on them uniting and investing in their own people. The problem now, Farrakhan and all of them been saying for 40 years, support your own. That's what we need to look at and obligate ourselves to. Secondly, if you're going to invest money, there are several businesses that I would suggest that you invest in if you're interested in owning a business. And I'm going to tell you the fields that are important. So if they're going to borrow money, I don't know if that's what you're asking, brother. If they're going to borrow money, what's the best business to open up that they're willing to lend you money for? I'm going to tell you what that is. And if I'm incorrect at the end, tell me what you exactly mean, and I'll respond to that also. Healthcare. If you open up a home healthcare agency, they'll lend you money. They won't even check anything. They're just going to look if you have a website and you have a legitimate business, boom, get you $100K just like that. All right? Now, the second business is I have a fiber optic business. I have a fiber optic business in Florida. I don't live in Florida, but I have a business that I bought a couple of months ago in August. I took over a fiber optic business. The reason why I did that, because I used to have a radio show where I had a guest come on every Wednesday, and he started a fiber optic business, which I was on the board, and I saw how much money they were making, and what the plans is. This guy was so plugged into the government with Obama administration. I'm like, wow, I need a couple of these contracts. He got a contract for a town in Texas. You know how much money he made just off that contract? You're talking about millions of dollars just to wire the whole town with fiber optic cable. So it's the fiber optic business is a there's no losing in it. You can't lose. You know, whether I'm selling off my website, whether I'm selling parts for fiber optic stuff, and you know, I don't know what type of cable they have in Philly, but we have Optimum in New York and DirecTV and all that stuff, Verizon. Now, if Verizon now, this person, say like you take over a building in Philly, like a project or whatever, and then you get that contract, wow, that means everybody would be paying their cable bill to you. So you have there's this Army guy I'm working with. He used to work with the government, and he's the one that installs for me. And let me tell you something, man. If you ever study fiber optics, you'll see why people should invest in it. It's one of the biggest rising business in America. And as a matter of fact, Obama approved some sort of stuff in Atlanta. I think Atlanta, certain parts of Atlanta, you're going to have so much jobs being opened up for fiber optics starting at like $22 an hour. So fiber optics is on the rise. All right, so that's the biggest investment. So you have healthcare, you have fiber optics. Of course, you have real estate. You know, people always, should invest in real estate. That's something to be in real estate. Or tax liens. Tax liens is another thing that you should invest in. It's not a major money maker, but people who go by paycheck to paycheck could be a part of that. The returns is always positive. It can't have a negative return. So So that's something if somebody's living paycheck to paycheck. Think about it, tax liens. And let me tell you a quick story. I went to a conference in New Jersey a couple of months ago, and the white guy who was hosting the conference said that he wants us now to pay him $1,500 for that information for them to help us so that we could understand the information better. So I said, why am I paying you? You just told me everything. So one of the things that he said that was disturbing, though, he said, don't invest in Cooks County, in Chicago where all the violence is. He's telling us not to invest there. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you know that they have houses in Cooks County right now for like $1, they have tax liens selling right now that's crazy in those communities. So when you think about gentrification and all that stuff, you got to wonder sometimes why there's so much violence in these communities, what they're trying to do. So I just have to tell you guys that story. So tax liens is one.
Of course.
Fiber optic.
Brother. They're going to create that. Yeah, they're going to create the violence for the property value, for the forced gentrification, and to force gentrification in the neighborhoods so they could get it back. That's what we're going through right now in Philadelphia. When they took white flight in the late 70s and 80s, they took their white flight into the counties, and now they want to come back. The eminent domains. That's what big businesses do. They do big business. They do eminent domain to take out big lots so they could put their Walmarts and Targets or whatever. But you know what? That was a good point you brought up about the fiber optics, because Philadelphia is Comcast. And it's so funny you brought up the cable and Verizon and Comcast. Philadelphia, our mayor that's about to be out, Michael Nutter, he just signed, I think, an extension with Comcast so they could run the city. They are the distributors of internet for Philadelphia, and they are and Comcast is the biggest thing here in Philadelphia. They have a Comcast Center right here. Actually, the arena where the Sixers play, that was originally the Comcast Center. They owned it. Ed Snyder, who has a street named after him here in Philadelphia, he's one of the vice presidents of Comcast Spectacor. They really literally own Philadelphia when it comes to the internet cable. So, and the fiber optics is a good point that you brought that up about that. I didn't know that's and that's the information we needed here to find out that, that type of investment. I mean, this is the type of things that whites generally get their hands on, and the information, and, each one teach one. And you brought up a good point, just like in the introduction, I said, black dollar stays with black businesses. You were trained. It's an unwritten rule. It doesn't have to be said. You have to support your people, and I'm glad, you keep that. That's your motto, and you're going to stick to it. But let me ask you this, Brother Garfield. I just not to get too far off topic, but I wanted to talk about savings. Let me just give another point to you. Now, I'm going to throw something at you. Now, if you have a family, just say an average black couple, and let's just say they inherit $10,000. Let's say, this happens with a lot of us in the black community. A lot of us inherit monies, and we just don't know what to do with it. We're so quick to go buy a car or go on a trip or a cruise or whatever. But let's just say a couple, they just came into $10,000, maybe an aunt, uncle, somebody passed away, left them a bond worth $10,000, they cashed it in. What should they do with that fund to escalate that fund, that $10,000, into $100,000 or more? What would you take if you and your wife, or if you were a couple came to you with financial advice? What would you tell them? They say, "Hey, listen, Brother Garfield, we got $10,000. We don't know what to do with it. We're trying to make it into $100,000. What do we need to do with this to make it into $100,000 or more?" What would you tell them?
Wow. I mean, it depends. All right. First, I would, if they came to me, they call me, affordable business consultants, they call me up. There's several things that they could do. One, we have, if they want to play it slow and raise the money and always make money, the tax liens. And I'm going to tell you why I said tax liens first instead of saying stock market, because a lot of people are scared of the stock market. Because, I've lost a lot of money in the stock market. I've gained a lot of money in the stock market. And I would recommend them to my stock person, that advisor, and so that if they're trying to, it depends on what type of returns they want. So for the $10,000, if I could guarantee them, hey, you know what, I could turn that probably to $100,000. It won't be a year, but probably within 4 years, I could probably turn that into $100,000. I could do that. I wouldn't even need to send them to somebody. I could give them opportunities where, for example, the same tax lien. when you invest in tax liens, and this is very important, and people need to understand this. If you have a tax lien on a house, right, and the person didn't pay their tax lien for the year, and say the tax lien is $1,700, or say it's $10,000, right, the tax lien every year, and you invested, all right, let's just say $5,000 for this argument, or $1,000, a simpler number to multiply, $1,000 per year. The person didn't pay for 2 years. You decided to go pay the 2 years back taxes, right? Now, if you win the opportunity to have that, to buy that tax lien, they go for the person that charges the lowest interest rate. In some states, you could charge up to 22%. So if your bid was, say, 20%, so that means 20% of $1,000, which is $200, you would get $200 whenever the person is going to pay you back. But if the person doesn't pay you back, there's a way that you could go now to actually use that lien to actually own that property. A lot of people don't know that. It's kind of, there's a kind of like there's a little inside secret of how you could go about trying to own a house now after the person refuses to pay taxes on their property. So there are two ways you could win. You could gain a new property and either rent it out and make money, or you could just take the interest off what you're making from the person not paying the taxes. All right, so that's one way. The stock market is another way. I could show you how to basically use that money, invest in your own credit, build it up more, and gain money enough to fund whatever your major plan is. So there's different ways about raising the money, that I could go about.
Yeah, instead of just sitting around with 10,000, because listen, cash money will burn a hole in your pocket. That's just the bottom line. It will always burn a hole in your pocket, and people just have that itch. People will just get that itch and just go ahead and just start spending. And then they get up in that Walmart and they get in that Target, and then they get in those department stores, and oh man, and they start seeing them commercials about cruises and trips and everything else, and Gucci pocketbooks and everything else. So, people will tend to lose focus, male and female, couples.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we're the Raising Awareness group. We're talking with Brother Garfield Reid. We're talking about group economics, proper spending, investments, credit, debit. If you want to chime in with us, just call 323-870-4085. We're live. We got a couple people on the line too. We're going to take some calls. I know people probably want to ask you a couple questions, Garfield. But you know what? I remember seeing a friend of mine. He's an investor. I haven't seen him in a while, but he was telling me about something similar to what you were saying about there's a website you can go on, and it's all it is just debts. You're just buying debts. You could just buy someone's debt, take it off their hand, and now you're the owner of their debt.
Yeah, it's the debt collection business. It's my friend of mine made $1 million being a debt collector in 6 months, and he got out of the business. Yeah.
How does that work? Explain that to the people.
It's a legal scam. That's pretty much what it is. What it is this. You got my brother on the phone right now with us. He's a big dude, intimidating dude, right? He comes to Garfield and he says he lends Garfield $20. So now, let's just say Kevin lent me the money. Kevin lent me the money, and he sent you to come collect the money, right? Like some real mafioso type of stuff, John Gotti type stuff. Now, the thing is, I borrowed the $10 from Kevin. I didn't borrow it from you. So now I have a contract with Kevin. So now if you come and collect it, you're like the mafia sent you to strong arm me to get that money. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, that was cool. Okay. All right. So now Kufu is trying to beat me up. Say, yo, where Kevin $10 at? I'm like, where you do that at? I ain't lending you the money. He's like, I need the $10 that Kevin lent you. So that's what the debt collector now. We don't have a contract. The debt collector is Kufu. We ain't got no contract. Me and Kevin got a contract. So now they're coming out of the blue because they bought the debt. Because remember, if you borrow money from a bank and the bank doesn't get their money, they write it off, if you know accounting, as bad debt. Because there's bad debt insurance for every single debt in this country. So now it's written off. they got their money back. So now what they're doing now is collecting money that Kufu already got. Kufu already got already. Kevin already got already. So now Kufu is now trying to collect the money because it's actually a legal debt that's out there. So now you could go to an auction and buy the debt for like pennies on the dollar. So like, say for example, the $10 now, he could pay 5 cents for that $10 debt and still try to collect the whole $10. But it's a sham, but it's a legal sham. That's what I call it. It's a legal scam.
So let's just say, for instance, you might have had an old cable bill. Let's say you owe Comcast. Let's say you owe Comcast $100. It's been charged off. They got paid. They'll sell it probably for $20, $5, $10 to some collection agency, and then that collection agency now they got the right to call you all day long and say, "Hey, we're collecting that $100 for Comcast."
No. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen that's listening. Don't ever pay a debt collector. Did you hear what I just said?
Don't ever pay a debt collector.
Ever pay a debt collector. And I'm gonna give my number out where people could call me or they could message me, man. Listen. The debt collector, like I just said, if Kevin lend me money, Kufu has no right to collect the money. But what happened is, because of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, they will buy the debt, and they will go like this. They'll send you a letter. They'll run your credit report and send a letter to any address they see, because you might not live at that address anymore. So if you live at 45 Philadelphia Street, and you lived at 24 Vermont Avenue, and they saw the 24 Vermont Avenue, they're going to send a letter to Vermont Avenue. So what happened now? Brother Kufu could not have gotten that letter. So now the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act said that you have 30 days to respond. So now you're not going to respond because you don't live there. So this is the trap now that you're in now. Because guess what? They're going to put it on your credit report next month. It's going to be on your credit report. Your score going to drop 75 points. Wow. 75 points. All because you didn't respond to a letter that you didn't even know that they sent. It's a legal scam. This is why my man made $1 million, man, in 6 months. It's a beautiful. I was about to do it, but I'm like, I love black people too much, man. I can't do that debt collector stuff, man. It's evil. It's really evil. It's good money, though, but it's evil. Because think about it. They call you. They call your job. They call your neighbor, which they really don't have no rights to do, but they do it to embarrass you into paying them. Right. So now what you do, ladies and gentlemen, when they call you, you say to them, they tell you they're recording the conversation. The first thing you say is, this is my tactic that I invented on my own, by the way, which is also legal. So now you say to them, do I have permission to record you? That's the first thing you say to them. When they say, just to let you know you're being, this is to collect the debt, and we're recording the conversation or whatever. I would say, okay, do I have the right? Because I want to record a conversation too. That now they're kind of backing off. Then you say to them, I'm putting this on record just to let you know I'm recording this, and you're recording it, so we have 2 witnesses. You may not contact me by phone anymore. If you're going to contact me, it has to be by mail. You may not call my job. I want you to cease and desist from contacting me through any phone line. Now, what you do now when you hire me now, Garfield is going to send a letter. Garfield is going to send a letter saying that you cannot contact me even by mail unless you're going to sue me or tell me that you have taken this off my credit report. So that letter shuts them out. So now they can't collect their money. So if it's a little $100 debt, they're not going to sue you for $100, bro. They're not. They're not going to sue you for $100. So what you're going to find now is that the debt collectors, we could put them out of business if we had this information. This is why I'll go on any radio station. It don't matter. I mean, you know I'm going on the Hebrews every day, but when it comes to economics and funding, I'm the man, period, credit repair. I'm just the man in that. And I tell everybody in America right now, do not pay debt collectors. Don't pay them. Know what your rights are. Don't be scared. They'll scare you and tell you, I'll sue you and all this stuff. And even if they sue you and you don't show up, I'll tell you how to clean that up too. Don't show up and they'll put it on your credit report as a lien, and I'll tell you how to go back to the court and file an order to show cause and get it removed. And they'll have to serve you papers again, and they'll never find you. I'll tell you how to do all of that stuff when you call me up. Because let me tell you something, man. We have been subjected to so much, man, racism, all type of nonsense, redlining, not getting loans because we black. And then on top of it, we got to deal with debt collectors. That shit is like a double whammy in our face. Debt collectors is the biggest sham, legal sham in America. It's legal. It's legal to do what they're doing. And,
you know, this is what
we don't have the laws. I mean, hold on. Let me say something real quickly, brother. Another thing too. A couple of these collection agencies were sued because this lady decided to record them, and they threatened her and called her Jungle Bunny and all. She won like $5 million.
Wow.
So when they call you and harass you, they're not supposed to do that either, but because they go overboard. So when these workers call you, you have your rights. You can't call my job. I'm telling you right now, cease and desist. If you call my job again, I'm suing you guys. You know what I'm saying? I had somebody that stole my identity. Let me just give a quick story, brother, before we go to the next question, or if you have a call or anything. Let me just give a quick story, and everybody might relate to this, man. The other day, this is something that happened to me 3 months ago. Somebody had stolen my identity like 4 years ago and ran up a bill, an electric bill, for like $2,000. Being the person that I am, whenever the collection agency would call me, they wouldn't get me, and they would put it on my report. So I'd have to take it off. So now, this was December or October. It popped up on my credit report. As a matter of fact, it popped up on my credit report in July. I sent them a letter, boom, boom, bang, called them on the phone, it got removed in like 3 days. All of a sudden now, in November or what do you call it, December, it pops up again from another collection company. So I sent them a letter, boom, boom, they get off. But this is going to go on. This is going to go on until I clear this up totally and file a police report and say that they stole my identity, because I keep proving that I never lived at the address where they said that the bill was, you know, wherever the electric bill went up. Somebody actually, in fact, in the Bronx where I live, there's 6 different guys with the same name I have. So, you know, it's kind of weird. As a matter of fact, there's a situation where the guy's file crossed my file, and he bought a new car, and I thought somebody had bought a car on my credit, and it became this big thing where I had to go to the dealership. I almost got into a fight. But people's files get crossed all the time. It's the stuff that happens when you have the same name, especially if you live in the same town, you know. But go ahead, brother.
No, this is good information, because I can recall one time I had multiple bank accounts, and I tell people about this, about multiple bank accounts. Make sure your bank, you know, your bank's rules are about activity, because my main bank is PNC. That's what I use. But I had a couple other ones, and I had one that I forgot about. I just didn't keep any money in it, and they had a rule. It was something like if you have no activity in the account for 6 months, they can charge you a fee of like $35. This was a Sovereign Bank. I haven't seen a Sovereign Bank in years. I'm pretty sure they're gone. They were Core States and First Union, all that was around back in the late 90s, 2000s here in Philly. Well, I remember I got a letter in the mail, and they said a debt collector had wrote me and said, you owe us $150. Sovereign Bank said you owed them, and you never. I had moved. Of course, I moved. I didn't look at that address. Somehow I got a phone call, and I said, well, okay, I'll send you the money or whatever. Big mistake. I didn't even have to send them the $150. What happened was I sent the $150 to Sovereign. Sovereign Bank said to me, what are you giving us this $150 for? I said, because this bill collector said I owe you guys $150. They said, no, sir. That debt has already been wiped off. We paid it. We're going to mail you back your money. Case closed. You don't have to pay a debt collector or anything. I said, wow. And this was back in around 2000. I remember this. So, and this is the same thing you're saying now. It's a ripoff. It's a good scam. And, you know, you need to know, people need to know and get in contact with their creditor, with the credit bureaus. And again, matter of fact, can you run that past so everybody knows the main 3 credit bureaus so they can, you know, sometimes it's good just to get your credit score.
You have Experian. and which is in Texas, Allen, Texas.
Yep.
We have Equifax, which is in Georgia. I've walked in there a couple of
And
times.
the one right here in PA.
I have
in
TransUnion. Yeah, man, I need a hookup over there, TransUnion.
It's only a 10-minute drive from where I live. A 10-minute drive. I've been to their office and everything. It's right here in Springfield. TransUnion, right here. So we're going to take
we're in this group. We're discussing black economics within the black community, how we should learn to create an income, protect our assets, know our rights, to illegal or legal shams such as shares and etc. We're going to take a caller here. Caller, area code 267. You're live.
Hold up.
Please,
Brother
Kufu. Brother Kufu. How you do, man?
I'm good. How y'all doing, family?
Peace, brother. Peace.
What's up, Garfield? Hey, I was listening on the show. Very good show. As anyone has talked to me personally, I always preach that in the 21st century, that economics is going to be very vital to us becoming fixing the conditions of our people. And number two, economics and money and wealth and and things that we're talking about on this show, our people are not versed with on no types of serious levels. When it comes to money and finances, we're always looking for the next person to handle it or deal with it, so forth. We do not want to become versed on how to deal with our own personal finances or seek the right assistance to help us with our finances. But I've came across some information a long time ago, and I would like to ask Brother Garfield about it. I've actually read that your debt actually has an expiration date, and I wanted to know how true is that.
Okay, all right. It's true, and you have something for any open-ended debt. You have something called statute of limitations. So,
right.
For example, if I live in I think it's Delaware, and this is something that everybody needs to pay attention to. They had a ruling in 2002 or 2006. There was a ruling that if you owe a credit card debt, wherever the main office is, to your to the credit card company, that's the statute of limitations you should follow. And for Chase, I think a lot of the credit cards are based in Delaware, and I think Delaware has a 2-year statute of limitations. So the courts ruled that that's the statute of limitations we should follow, not the statute of limitations of the state that you actually live in. So why that is important is, and it all ties into your question, is that every debt, if you borrow a credit card, if you get a credit card and you never made any payments for 6 months, that is called your account is now charged off. What's going to happen is they're going to go by the date of last activity. Date of last activity is the last time you made a payment. So from the date of the last payment that you made, and then the statute of limitations is 4 years. After 4 years, you're good. You're good. It's the same thing if you had a repossession. If you had a repossession or a foreclosure. If the statute of limitations for that state or wherever you borrowed the money from is gone, you no longer have that debt. This is when debt collectors come in more now. And they say, okay, like my boy, he had lent somebody his credit in Atlanta. They bought a house, gave him 25 G's, for lending him his credit. He lent him his credit that he did on his own free will, which I was totally against, but he did it anyway. So they bought a house, and then that was like 2006.
Right.
And then you know what happened in 2007? You know what happened. The whole housing thing bubble burst. So they couldn't sell the house, and they didn't tell him, and it went into foreclosure. So now, 2012, the statute of limitations was gone. But you have this company, because it was like over $200,000, they're still trying to collect. They're trying to collect, although the statute of limitations is up.
Right.
You know, which is good, because if you buy a debt that's $200,000, that's a good deal. If you bought it for like $5,000 or $3,000,
right.
you try to collect $200,000, you're making a lot of money. You know, goes back to what I said originally. Debt collection is a very good. I'm not telling everybody to get into it because I love my black people so much, but it's a big, easy money maker. It is.
Right, and our people don't understand that. It's like, you know, these debt collectors are third-party companies or entities, and what they'll do is they'll just, you know, they just come to the company and say, look, we'll buy off the loan for a certain percentage. We'll now assume the loan, and we're going to make the interest off the person by collecting the debt. You know, we'll assume and we'll make the money back off the interest. And really, it's really out of the hands. Like, case in example, if you own, if you owe, let's just say, I don't know, just say you, I don't know, financed a wedding ring or something like that, and you might have defaulted on the payments. A debt company will come in, you know, they'll sell your debt. Let's say you purchased a ring for $4,000. That company will come in and say, oh, we'll give you $2,500 right now. And the company say, okay, I wasn't making money off this anyway. I'll take the $2,500. The third party company, which is the debt collector, you know, they now pay $2,500, but you owe $4,000. So not only are they going to try to get you for the $4,000, they're going to tack on the interest. So in actuality, they'll probably get about maybe $6,000 from you when it's all said and done. And our people are not realizing, like, you know, the game that's being played with these debt collectors and stuff like that. And you know, once again, you know, this is a very good show, and, you know, our people just need to become more aware of things of this nature.
Mm-hmm. Good point, brother. Very good information right there. Good information. People, listen, take your notes. I mean, I'm always going to be here. Brothers could always call me up and say, hey, I need you on for 15 minutes or whatever. I'm always accessible. I'm one of the most accessible dudes you guys will ever know in your life. So if anybody need me to come back on the show again, explain certain things, or walk people through the plans and all that stuff, different things, I'm always here just to let you guys know. All right? Just give me a day's notice, 2 days' notice, or even the same day notice. As long as it's 2-3 hours before the show, I'll come on. Because people, you know, the people book me on Blog Talk all the time, you know, but the information is important, and we need to get it out to as much people as possible. And remember what I said. Don't pay debt collectors. Do not pay them. If you need a letter, I'll put one together for you, or I'll send you a sample, and you just switch up, put your name on it or whatever. I'll tell you what to send them, and we take it from there. Stop being a pawn in the game, man. Black people, we got enough problems, trust me. The debt collector come like they're worse than the police at times, the way they call people. I'm serious. They be calling people like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock. You can't call people that late if you're a debt collector. You're breaking the law, you know, but they do it just to get on people's nerves. They'll call your neighbor to embarrass you. They'll call your job, and you're like, damn, how they got my job number? Black folks, trust me, we got enough problems. Don't pay debt collectors. Just tell them cease and desist from contacting me by phone anymore. Any form of contact has to be through the mail. That's your right, and that's the law. They can't contact you by phone no more. They can't call your job and so forth. That's it. It's embarrassing, and that's what they're trying to do, embarrass you.
Good information. Caller here. Caller, area code 609. You're live. Caller, area code 609. You're live with the Raising Awareness Group.
Peace. Hello? Hello?
Peace, brother. Peace, brother.
Hotep, Black Power.
Hotep, Black Power, brother.
Yeah, this is Brother Ross Saka.
Brother Ross Saka.
Brother.
Brother Garfield, I'm glad you're on because I'm trying to reach you. It seems like this is a good format to reach you in because I can't really reach you online.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm asking you about, I mean, my credit problem is fairly easy. I mean, 50% of it is not even me. Somebody has been using my information for a while, and the state that they're doing it in, I never even been to that portion of the state, and I never lived there at the time. And I'm getting all this stuff from stuff that they're doing, and they're moving around doing it. So how is that, how could you work to get that cleaned up. I mean, that should be something easy to prove, right?
That's easy, man. That's easy. First and foremost, and this is for everybody that's out there, if you're a victim of identity theft, I would urge you to get a police report. If it's legitimately you feel you have been subjected to a crime, do a police report. You could also fill out the ID theft affidavit, get it notarized. And then once I send that stuff in, along with your ID, a copy of your social, and the utility bill of where you live, that stuff should be removed. It shouldn't take more than probably 10 days. Should be done.
Okay, that's really good to know. And a lot of the other stuff is probably me. Some of it is like hospital bill, like when I was in between on insurance and things like that. You know, they would charge me to the hospital.
Hey, let me cut you off. Black folks, listen. There's something called HIPAA laws. Nobody's supposed to know you owe money to a hospital. That's your personal right information. Although it's money, it doesn't matter. You were in a hospital, you owe the bill, HIPAA law. You're not supposed to. You could sue the hospital for that. Then nobody's supposed to know your information, man. You go to a hospital right now and you ask, say like you went there to go see your girl or something, and certain information, if you're not a family member, they're quick to say, oh, you're not allowed to see her and all this craziness, and, you know, they put all this stuff on you. Oh, you got to sign this because of the HIPAA law, and now they want to give out your information that you owe money. Come on, man, stop playing games. Black folks got enough problems, man. We don't need no more. So we could that's a debt collector. We know we spoke about that earlier. We could get rid of them. That's not a problem, brother. Easy work.
Okay, all right. I mean, everything sounds beautiful. So how can I get in touch with you for you to start helping me with this stuff?
All right, I'm actually looking at your message right now. Just hit me up after the show. And
all right then, brother.
I'm gonna just listen to the show. I'm gonna give out my number in a few minutes. All right.
All right. Good stuff. All right, bless,
brother.
Yeah.
Brother Garfield. So
yes, sir.
As you know, it seems that a lot of black people there, they're not financially literate. Shouldn't they be teaching this in the schools? Because I noticed, or at least when I was coming up, we didn't have any. We had economics class, but it was so basic that they didn't even teach you how to write a check. If you understand, back in the days, I'm in my mid-30s stuff, so this is the '90s I'm talking about. But shouldn't we be teaching this type of stuff? Like what you're just going over. Shouldn't this be learned? And at least I would say at least high school in this country. What do you have to say about that?
It's funny. I actually one of my partners wrote a proposal because I was a part of a union, and we're trying to actually make a proposal for New York City, where every what do you call the folks in 12th grade who are graduating should have like a 1 hour. The seniors should have a 1 hour, 30-minute session where we would go around the schools and we would teach them about what credit is and what's going to happen. I said to my son the other day, I had my son when I was very young. He just turned 21. And I said to him, boy, if I knew what I know now, I would be a billionaire. I would be a billionaire right now. And let me tell you something, man. I'm going to tell you guys about a program that I'm going to implement soon with my my folks. And I want black folks to understand something. I made a speech at Sanders' the Comedic Conference. I don't know if you guys watched it live. If you watch it live, you heard me. But if you didn't watch it live, he cut me out. He always cut me out. I don't know why. I got to talk to him about that. But one of the important things, everybody, I want the guys who are hosting me on RAG, I want you guys to listen to what I'm saying carefully, because I want this to apply to people who I know and I love. I love black people in general, but you have certain people around you that you like, certain people around you that you don't like. You couldn't care less, but we love black people overall anyway. And what I'm about to say is for every black person in America. I'm not going to discriminate against you. Listen to me carefully. I am going to shoot a documentary, and the documentary is called How I Raised $1 Million in 10 Days. I'm going to be the guinea pig. I'm going to use my personal credit and my business and walk everybody through how I did it and how they could do it also. So it's not like I'm a Superman or I got an inside connect or whatever. It is something that you can do. My scores, my lowest score right now is like in the 840s, right? The highest score is like 850, which is the highest score anyway. But I have mastered the system of credit to the point, not bragging, I have mastered it to the point where I could tell you what trade line to put on your credit, what trade line to remove, what do you need to boost your score, and how you could get to the 800 or 850. I have mastered that to the point where I could it's like, it's just like second nature to me. So now, what I'm going to do now in a couple of weeks, or probably like a month or two, in the maximum 2 months, is I'm going to actually fly to Tampa because my business is actually in Florida, and I'm going to use my personal and business credit and get funding. Now, I have 6 banks that I'm already a part of, which I'm already in. Within those 6 banks, I should be able to raise $1 million. There are certain banks that will give me $300,000. Certain banks will give me only $80,000. I know the banks. So now, once I videotape it and people see I actually got this funding, which I won't use, but I need to show people that, credit, we might not want to be a part of the white man system and play this game, but we need to get something out of it while we are here on this earth. We need to get something. Until we have a plan where, and I told the brothers from the Team of Cyrus and Amin Ra squad that if we were able to raise $1 million to $2 million each, and it's 20 of us, that's $40 million. With $40 million, we could build our own Library of Alexandria. We could have our own Library of Alexandria that they had in Egypt years ago, where they had all the structures. So we wouldn't have to worry about what Dr. Ben taught. He wouldn't have to give the Nation of Islam his 35,000 books. We'd have our own library to put it there. We could buy abandoned towns, which actually I'm in the process, a two-year process of doing that right now, where you could develop your own community. I mean, you might not be able to live off the grid. You might be able to live off the grid, but that's a whole other argument. But it's something to think about. Power of your credit and your business. If you, right now on the phone, Kufu, you and Kevin, if you could raise $1 million right now, Akil, what would you do with it? Ask yourself that. What would you do? It gives you a lot of options, right? It gives you a lot of options. So now, the way how I can do it, if I could build $1 million, I know I could build a $2 million, and I know I could build $5 million because I know how to structure my business credit and my personal credit to make sure I know what those creditors are looking for. I know what they're looking for in the tax returns. I know what they're looking for as far as paperwork. So if we have this information, ladies and gentlemen, why is it that we stagnant? Why we can't do nothing? So I'm saying to you guys right now, should we put aside the fact that we're trying to unite black people? We have 40 million black people. Should we put that aside to say that why don't we unite more in smaller groups that's more realistic? So even if Akil and Kevin don't agree and the other brothers that's down with the RAG, say you have 7 of you guys, at least you know it's only 7. So you know what? We could do something here. Because with 7 of us, we might not have the same belief. One might be Muslim, one might be Moor, one might be Nation of Islam, one might be, Ahmadinejad Muslim, and whatever that is, and one might be, black Muslim, one might be a Farrakhan Muslim, one might be a Elijah Muslim, and you might have differences. One might be a Christian, one might be a Hebrew Israelite. But at the end of the day, if you come together and say, this is what we're going to do, and this is what the laws of the land going to be, you eliminate a lot of the boo-ha-ha, what God you believe in. Because personally, I don't believe anybody should know what the next person believes. That's my personal thing. I don't want to know what you believe. Because if I know what you believe, I might have a problem. But if I don't know, we could build. Think about it. If we never knew what each other believed, that eliminates 60% of the problems. Because I don't want to unite, not to knock Dr. York, but I don't want to unite with anybody that believes in Dr. York. I don't think they're worthy of being united with. But if I didn't know, I might unite with you. Because if we don't know what you believe in, then we ain't got no beef. The beef, that 60% beef is out the door. You know, we're not into this light skin, dark skin thing anymore. We don't fight, we don't beef about that no more anyway. But that's out the window. So that's another 10% gone. Then you have 30%. What is the 30% beef going to be about? The 30% beef would only be basically setting up a committee who would be in charge. And 30%, that's 10% right there, who's going to be in charge. The other 20%, you concentrate on the rules and the regulations, or, for lack of a better term, a constitution for the town or wherever you guys are going to unite and live. But think about it. If 7 guys got together, united, and move your family somewhere where y'all could live comfortable, you still could watch your football games, cable and everything, you're on the grid, but you're in a separate town like the Mormons. Pretty much, you know, what the Mormons did, and pretty much what Dr. York did, Dr. York tried to separate from people and build, you know, I don't know what purpose it was for, but he actually did something, which was a disaster eventually. But the point of the matter is, it can be done. I didn't fear Dr. York, but they just got rid of him because he's dumb. He's so stupid, you know. But let's get back to what I said originally. If we have 7 people right now on the phone lines, the 7 of them want to unite. They each could raise $1 million. That's $7 million. $7 to $10 million you raise. What is it that you could do? You could build your own housing project with that $10 million. You could live with each other like a family. But if we start saying, hey, we want to unite with 300 people, you got to deal with 300 problems, 300 headaches, 300 different religions, 300 people wanting their own way. So my thing to the black community is, let's stop thinking not because Farrakhan can draw 1 million or 2 million people who feel like we could do it and unite. No, it's not going to work. We got to do it in blocks. If you don't do it in blocks, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Hebrew Israelites, unite with Hebrew Israelites. Muslims, unite with Muslims. Get your like minds together and do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, there's money to be raised. I'm telling you right now, $1 million could be raised. You're talking about you could invest in your own farmland, have your own supermarkets, your own grocery stores. We have people in Ghana right now ready to make T-shirts for people at very cheap prices that you'd see and get in China. You could get the same prices over here in Ghana, probably a little bit more expensive. We have land in Ghana. If people want to go and invest in Ghana, own your own little neighborhood and so forth, we have all the connections. Right now, we're in the process of starting our own credit union. Our own credit union. So once that's up and running, we're going to need our community to invest and save their money in that bank. Because that's what banks do. The money that you save in there, they use that money and invest and make money off your money. That's how banks make money. All right?
I mean, as you bring that up, you know, when you raise all the money, you know, a couple of businesses, and I want to know if you agree with me on this. One logistics and freight broker businesses would be great for us if people were to unite and raise money like that and have their own businesses. But instead of contacting UPS or GFS, that's global food services, you know, stuff like that, purveyors and stuff. Instead of calling them, wouldn't it be good that black people get into the logistics and freight broker businesses to cater to all the businesses that you just brought up if people united and created a bunch of businesses and a community?
Let me tell you something, brother. A business will not work unless you have a certain type of clientele ready. Because a new business, remember, you want to go in business not because the business sounds good and it's good, because remember, you're going to be still competing. Because of the free will, the free enterprise culture that we have is capitalism. So although FedEx is our own, how much people is going to support you if you had your own thing? That's what you got to look into. So now this is how churches and mosques and all these things, this is the role that they play because they're a family. So if you're going to start a business, think about it like as a family. You know, I'm going to have a business because I have like 30, 40 people that I know that will support it. Because as much as we love each other, brother, we have this in-depth self-hatred that we won't even support you because you're black. We won't even support you because we know you. This is the self-hatred that we have. Not everybody's like that, but it's just a self-hatred that we have for each other. So if you're going to start a business, you got to make sure that, for one, the people around you are going to support you. The people in the neighborhood gonna support you. Your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, their children gonna support you. You understand what I'm saying? So once anybody's gonna start a business, the business sound good. Every business is always sounding good. They could write a good business plan. But you also got to think about, is this going to make money? Is my people going to support me? And you got to do like a test run. Before you even start a business, have a little smaller business where you could handle between 10 and 20 form deliveries per day and see if people support you. And then you say, you know what? Time to get an office, time to get it cracking. Let's get it rolling. Let me hit up Garfield, get me a little 50 grand. Get a building, pretty it up, boom, advertise, do what I need to do. And I know I could recoup that 50 grand in like 6 months based on my statistics of what I've been doing off the radar. Boom. There you go. But if you just jump into the fire and then you don't have something to back up you, then you're going to open for 3 months and close. You got to have a plan where you know that it's going to be sufficient. You're gonna be seeing profits between 4 to 6 months after you open up. Not no 1 year like the white man tell you. Oh, you're gonna be operating at a loss for you. Nah, we don't do that. That's not black people business. We want to make sure in 3 months we're making a profit and we could sustain this business for another 4 or 5 years. Simple as that. And another thing for the men out there that's listening, always try to get an advice of a woman. And I'm gonna tell you why. Women are planners for years to come. We are planners for very recent times. It's just something about men. We're not great planners for way down the line. But we're very good planners for the 6 months to a year. Nothing against us men. Let's got to be honest. Woman, get a woman that's in the field that could advise us. Mm-hmm.
That's just our natural habitat, because men of the aggressive nature that we are, and just being an alpha male, we tend to have shorter long-term goals. We still have long-term goals. They're just not as long as women. Most women want to think things out to the complete, like a marriage. When a couple's getting married, the woman wants everything down in detail. You may not be getting married till next year, but they want the exact detail, piece by piece of the wedding day done. And you're not even getting married till next year, but this is just how women are. So, no, that's a good point, Julie noted, and that's a good point that you brought up, You always need a good woman's intuition, You need a woman a part of the Trinity. Only white men, that's only that Christian ideology where they take the woman out of everything.
That's right. That's that Dr. gay shit. But, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Like I said earlier, black people are working. We have careers. We're a part of the workforce. Like I said, there's a lot of propaganda that goes on about us. But black people are working hard. We've been working hard. That's all we've really ever done in this country. We work for cheap. We work for dirt. And we work for food. And, we work for dollars. But let me ask you, in this day and age, a lot of people, they go to college, they go to trade schools, whatever, for a career. What do you feel as though are careers that black people need to be venturing more into or lacking in that we should venture into?
You mean as far as a business or as far as personal to work for someone?
Personal to work for, careers. Are black people in the right career these days?
Yeah. A career, if you could work for a fiber optic company, I'll tell you that right now, because those jobs are opening up like crazy. And for women, of course, nursing is always, getting to be an LPN or RN is very beneficial. That's a job that's not going anywhere.
Therapy,
Yep, yeah. Even the phlebotomy and all that medical stuff. So once you're in anything in the healthcare field right now is a winner. You can't lose. Okay. Taxes is good for that's something that's taxes is one of the most important things for every person right now. Make sure your taxes are done right. So are you going to be audited? Definitely going to be audited. So let me see. The banking industry is pretty beneficial right now too. Pre-Obama, it was very sad. They weren't really lending money, but right now Obama has opened the floodgates. Right now, anybody could get a loan right now. That's how simple it is. Anybody. So now your credit is 620, They have different programs. Oh, I forgot to even mention this earlier. We have different programs for people even with bad credit. If your score is 620, I could get you funding. If you have a 580 score, we have programs for you. As long as you have the income to back it up and so forth, you're good to go. We have different programs, man.
Wow. Oh, wow. I think we lost caller. Let me see if I can get Brother Garfield back. He just called, just dropped. Let's see if I can get him right back. Hold on, you guys. Sorry, Garfield, his call just dropped. Let me see if I can get him back on real fast. Just hold on, everybody. Just give me 1 second. Here he is. Here we go. We got Brother Garfield back. Here we go. Brother Garfield, you there?
Yeah, man. I guess Allah was upset with me, so cut my line off. But I told him I'm siding with Yahweh, and he got upset. But
okay.
Before we go any further, let me just say this real quickly. I got to give a shout out to my friend's website. It's called Support Black Owned, where you go on that website and you could list your business. We're trying to start a database. I don't know if you ever read my 9-point plan, brother, but one of my 9-point plan, the first one was to develop a national database for urban businesses, because what happened is there's an application on everybody's phone that lists black-owned business, and white folks had corrupted it. And what happened is you would see a black-owned business, but it was really owned by a white person or a Chinese person. So it was corrupted. So we started a whole new thing. So we had to collect information again. And this website right now, we have a package where you could feature your business and so forth, and they won't charge you any money at all. We have different packages. But Support Black Owned, OWNED.com, supportblackowned.com is a beautiful website. Check it out. You could list your business for free, and it's good to have it, And I think everybody needs to add that to their server or whatever, to their website collections or whatever they do. Supportblackowned.com. We need to get that website out there. It collects all business information for every state, every city you could think of, and we're trying to build that database for us, pretty much for us.
I had
Peace. How you doing tonight, Brother Garfield?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this Brother Akil. You were saying something about people with bad credit. What information can you give? What information can you give with people with bad credit or no credit? Like what are things we can do to what they can do to get established?
All right. If you have no credit, let's deal with no credit first. If you have no credit at all, I do sell what's called trade lines, piggyback trade lines that I could actually put on your credit and get you a score. If I put 4 of my trade lines on, I could get you an 800 score just based on the trade lines that I put on. All right? That's if you have no credit, nothing on your credit at all, blank. Now, if you have bad credit, I could still add the trade lines and it would boost your score, but we would still have to remove some of the negative items to make sure you get an 800 score. Because although I could boost it to get you an 800, your credit wouldn't be exactly sexy enough for the lender. You understand what I'm saying? They still would see the negative items, but we can deal with that. And also, as I said before I got cut off, if you have bad credit, we have different lending programs for you. All right? So if you have like a 550 score and you're trying to get a loan to clean up some bills and you have good income, I could help you out. Definitely could help you out.
Okay.
Okay, that's good information, brother. Hello, peace. You still there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm right here.
Okay. That's good information about that, help brothers out because, credit is the way of the world, that's how it's going to go. And a lot of our brothers are not educated, just like Brother Kevin said earlier, Brother William said, a lot of our children aren't going to be educated in schools, and that's a beautiful thing that you guys are trying to basically lobby to get to, in the city of New York, go around to the schools to have seminars to educate the youth on what credits and debits. Some of these kids don't even know how to fill out a checkbook, balance a checkbook, write out a check, anything. I mean, how to obtain their credit scores. And like I said earlier, a lot of our that's a part, even in the college ranks. A lot of these kids are just, the college dropouts. They got bad credit. Citibank is such a vulture to the college kids. Because a lot of the college kids, whether they're on a campus, they're broke, they don't have any money. And here they coming along with that credit card. Here they come along, oh, we give you $5,000. Here you go. Just because you're a college student. Here you go, here's $5,000. And you see them standing in line and just swiping away, and they don't even have an idea, that $5,000, you got a 21% interest rate. Remember, the loan is secure. It's unsecured to you, but it's secured by the by the Fed, and then they have a 21% interest rate. That interest rate gets paid first before the actual loan. So the creditor has made his money. Whatever little bit you have applied, he's made it. That's his. So that's a good thing that you guys are doing in the community. But let me ask you this, and this is something just talking about savings, because we need to just also have our own funds saved. In your estimation, if you got a couple, let's just say you have a couple that works, and let's say they save a six-figure salary. Let's say they make about $100,000 a year combined. What should be their goal to have saved by the end of the year? Because everyone should have a goal. If you're in a six-figure salary, and that's combined income, or let's just say you're a single person, you may make $50,000 a year. What should be a person's goal to have saved in a bank account, or just have something in a piggy bank, under your bed, in the Nike shoebox? It doesn't matter. What should they have saved in their savings by the end of the year?
That's a tricky question, because everybody have bills and everything. If you're making $100,000 legally, I mean, you're talking about like probably 30%, 20-30% being taken out because of taxes and different things. I would say if you can save $10,000 a year, if you're making $100,000, depending on your expenses, that would be good, because at least after 10 years, you have $100,000, and then that $10,000, think about it, it probably would be after the expenses and your vacation with your family and all that stuff. So I would say save $10,000 a year. That would probably be the best route, because then you have $100,000 after 10 years, and you could do whatever you have to do then, whether you want to invest, or if you want to invest in some stock, mutual funds. It depends on what you want to do, because a lot of these retirement plans, man, if you notice these retirement plans, a lot of them being hijacked and people robbing them and so forth. So I don't know. I mean, we all look forward to Social Security and those retirement plans, but I'm not even trusting the retirement plans right now. I'm really not. And Social Security, by the time we reach 50 or 60, that's probably going to be done with anyway.
We don't know if it's going to be there for us. We really don't. If they don't repay the Treasury bond, we don't know for a fact, because they always dip it into that Treasury bond. The government's always dipping into that for something, And so, all right, that's good. That's good information. Brother Kevin, you still there?
Yeah. Brother Garfield, you mentioned that, based on piggyback off of Afrikan's question. Listen, it seems, wouldn't that be that most black people are just living out of their means? They make $100,000 a year, let's say combined income, but they're spending like they're making $250,000. So they accumulate, I would say, more debt draws all the big problems. So shouldn't they be trying to have like some type of portfolio for them to, I guess, like you said, to accumulate some type of a nest egg within, let's say, 20 years? What would you recommend for them to go about that?
Yeah, the smartest investment, if anybody wants to do it, you don't need a stockbroker to tell you. It's like basically a mutual fund. It's a no-lose situation for you. You're right. People like to live above their means, and it's bad for us as an economy, as a culture. We I always said if I ever became a billionaire, I would buy all these radio stations up, and I would forbid any form of braggadocious rapping, meaning that you brag about what you have. I would forbid all of that off the radio station because that has destroyed the culture. When you're bragging about your Benz and your this and your that, so when somebody sees it and they don't have it, you're kind of telling them, hey, I have it, so what? Come get it. Come try to rob me. And then that's when crime takes place because poor folks look on these rappers like they are legends, like they are gods, mini gods from the neighborhoods. And they think that the goal is to grow up and buy a Benz and drive a Bentley. It shouldn't be that way. That mindset is what has ruined us. And that's when you have people making $100,000 and spending like they have $200,000, and they get screwed up because their money's messed up, and marriages and relationships get destroyed because of that. So you brought up a good point, brother. I mean, it really kind of not in line with what we're talking about, but it's a good point to bring up because we as a people, we need to just stop spending. Not only the fact that we're going to boycott this Christmas and Thanksgiving and all these things, but when you boycott it, though, I need to say something. When you boycott something, can we boycott stop wearing underwears? Because we don't really have any black underwear company. I don't know if you guys heard my story about talking to Tazariak from the Hebrew Israelites when I said to him, how is it that you talk about the white man so much, but your white man property or product is covering the most private part of your woman's body and your body. Every underwear you wear is made by the cracker. So now I said to him, why don't you start a business called Yahweh? You'd make a killing. Hebrew Israelites underwear. You know who would support you? Your own community. You got
your whole community. Your whole
we
community
definitely
up there that farm.
I ain't buying no damn Yahweh, but it's a good business thought for him. I would actually invest in that. They can't know I'm a part of it, but I would invest in it. Yeah, God, Israelites don't want Garfield making no money off of them. Sure.
Of course. It's just like all that, we may laugh at them brothers, and we might crack our jokes of what let me run it out. And we're the Raising Awareness group, and if you want to talk to us, just chime in at 323-870-4085. That's 323-870-4085. We got Brother Garfield on the line. We're talking black group economics, proper spending and investments. But you know what? Those brothers, man, we may make fun of them, what the clothes they wear and the garments and stuff. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff they wearing is from their own people. Their women on up in them farms or wherever they got them at up there making their clothes. They're buying it from somebody. And most likely, guess where they're buying it from? Some Arab over there on Canal Street or somewhere like that. So, like you said, you guys should make your own line. Make Yahweh wear. Who cares? It's your money, your product line. But let's take a call. We got somebody just came on and probably want to talk to you. We're going to take this area code 301. Area code 301. You're live. Raising Awareness Group.
All right. Yeah, this is Leonard. I talked to Kevin earlier. He was telling me about the show.
Oh, yeah. What's your name? Leonard Phillips, correct?
Leonard Knight.
Leonard Knight. Hey, how you doing, brother? Yeah, I know who you are. You said you got some information to share with us. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Just got in not too long ago,
Awesome. Where you calling us from, brother?
I'm in the DMV area. I'm in Maryland, right outside of D.C., so, yeah.
Okay, awesome, brother. What's on your mind?
Just I think we were talking earlier, we were just saying a whole lot of foolishness is going on with all this conscious community back and forth, trivial shit, basically. And, I come from a position of I don't care about any of that shit. I'm straight about the economics. Fuck all the other stuff. You can do your Morris thing and your
Well, that's what we're building on, and that's kind of what we try to focus on, especially with this. We got a new year approaching, and we got black people working, and black people in the working class, and black people need to start putting their money together and become an upper class, and it's not that hard, and I don't see us. I could see it. I could see black people establishing group economics again, because you from the DMV, you in the Maryland area, I'm from the Philly area. Both of our areas are similar. We both dealt with the crack epidemic. We've lived in our areas. I don't know. I'm in my older 30s, So I know how I saw black-owned businesses all over West Philly growing up. I saw them, you know.
Right.
I lived them, and I saw them transfer over to the Korean man, now to the Dominican man. You know, it needs to come back to the black man again, because this is our neighborhood, and anybody who owns those businesses, they don't live here. They're not contributing to anything. When my football team, when we went to these stores, these local stores, and said, "Hey, donate to the," not one of them gave us a dime.
Right.
Not one.
Those people are not. They don't have a vested interest in the community other than taking your dollars back to their community. Like I know in this area, many of the stores, like in the Maryland side and the suburbs, and then within D.C. itself, are owned by the Koreans, the Asians, other Asians, Arabs. They sell you the Chinese food at the carryouts, the corner stores, and then they go back to Northern Virginia, and that's where they live. And the local area, you know, is in disarray, and it's a lot of food desert type situations, but that's not their problem. My perspective on that is that it's not their problem. That's our problem. We don't. I'm not going to beg them to empower my own community. We could do that ourselves. It's just a matter of, like you said, getting on one page with that. There's going to be a bunch of bullshitters and, you know, people that are into the whole back and forth debate thing. We need to move around those people and link up with the serious people.
And you know what? The Brother Garfield just said it. You know, he gave the brother, you know, who heads a major Hebrew Israelite sect an idea. Say, hey, brother, you know, why don't you just make your own clothing line out of this? And the brother basically probably blew him off.
Right. I think I heard him talking about Yahweh where.
Yeah, and this is this is what we need to think about. Like, we got to stop it with this. Or because you Muslim, or because you Hebrew Israelite, or because you Christian, I don't want to build with you. Because the one thing that I see that is the only black business we have is the black church. And we know them niggas ain't nothing but federal agents. Them niggas ain't nothing but agents who run these big mega churches. They're not about us. That's all they are. They put in a position to pacify us. All those Ray Hagen fools and Creflo Dollars and all that, they were put there for us not to organize, not to boycott. That's what they were. That's what to pacify us and keep us sissified. Make sure those Negroes don't unify and revolt against big businesses. That's what they're there for. And they basically told those guys, you could do whatever you want. You could do with all the money you make. You could have sex with all the women in your congregation, but do not motivate those Negroes to unify and start doing group economics and boycotting big businesses. That's what they don't want us to do. And once we realize,
pastor out of, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, there's a pastor out of Baltimore. I believe his name is Jamal Bryant. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. But he's very serious with the group economics, and he's starting to pick up some traction locally and somewhat nationally. And I know the local media up here is kind of going after him a little bit, you know, because anyone that picks up traction.
Smear tactics and stuff like that to take him down.
Right, and he's like the type where he's putting pressure on the other pastors, the other pork chop pastors, locally and nationally, to do something to empower the community other than telling them to pray and Jesus will take care of it. I mean, he's about that tangible action.
Sounds just about right. Pray and Jesus will fix everything. He's not going to tell them. He's not instructed to black dollars to stay with black businesses. He's not instructed to do that. His instructions are to keep them dumb, deaf, and blind. Do not let them unify and revolt any type of way against a major overthrow of the big businesses and the system that we have in place. And especially, do not arm yourself. That's another thing. They don't want us to arm ourselves neither. Do not. That's where the Jesus will pray. They come shoot up the whole church. Don't worry about it. We're going to go out here and pray. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what they want us to do. So, but let me ask you this. Since you're down there in the DMV, but are there any black businesses that we should know about? Are the brothers struggling, that they just might need some attention? They might need some advertisement. Like, what's going on down there? Like, what businesses do we have? Like, I know I've been down to DMV. I know about some of the little crab food shacks and all that, but I mean, are they anything like any sustainable or any tangible businesses that blacks are owning down there that, you know, they just might need that little Kickstarter that, you know, for other black people to know about that they're there? Because that's an issue here in Philly. There's black businesses here. It's just a lot of people, they don't know about them. They're not in the loop. They don't know about the website the Brother Garfield just promoted. You know, like you said, there's the app. I know about some of the Around the Way app. You know, it was a good app for it. And I started noticing, you know, some of these businesses ain't black owned. You know, and it's not even, and if you have Apple, you can't even get it on Apple. You know, so you got to go back to the old school. You got to have a website. But what black businesses are there, or if there are any tangible ones down there in the DMV area that you know of?
Well, actually, now that you mention that, I have people in my family that are about to launch something major, but I'm not at liberty to disclose the details yet. But as we get closer to that rollout, it's going to be in the distribution channels. So as we get closer to the rollout of that business, I will definitely forward you guys their information. They're going to be importing, exporting from overseas.
Freight.
But like I said, I don't want to disclose yet. I've been told do not disclose yet. But in terms of major businesses, I can't think of anything that's really major that would have maybe national significance right now. There's a lot of local restaurants and things like that that are, you know, historic landmarks. The game down here with the black businesses, though, is because D.C. is a federal government town. So a lot of these white men will start a quote-unquote black-owned company, like you were indicating, and they'll put a black person, they'll fill out the application and submit their GSA application with a black person as the figurehead, but they'll be really pulling the strings in the business. So there's a lot of that going on. I personally have worked with a company that was structured in that manner. So
just like Jay-Z the Barclays Center, he's a figurehead, even though the Russian billionaire was the whole thing, but you know they put a black figurehead. You know,
right? So they can get that minority contract.
The 52 fake out down here in Miami. Here's, you know what, you guys have black businesses up there. You know, I rate that in, you know, in the Philly and the DMV area and in the Northeast. Here, it seems that we have black-owned businesses, or let me rephrase that. It's entrepreneurship, but the thing is, they're in flea markets, and the thing with the flea markets down here is repeat business. What I mean by that is, you go in the flea market, this is what you're going to find first. You're going to see a tattoo shop owned by a black person. Then next door is another tattoo shop owned by a black person. If that's competition, which is a Korean or Cuban. Then you got barbershops. You got 4 barbershops competing with each other. So I'm saying it's like with capitalism. Yes, you know, that's a good thing, but it's like there's no innovation when it comes to down this side.
Exactly.
I'm only speaking for Miami, Florida. I don't know how it is up there in the eastern quarter. But,
I know exactly what you're saying, because it's like, I think I talked about this on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. I was saying that if black people if we really want to compete within the global economy, we need to diversify the fields that we go into. We can't. I want to see black biosciences firms. I want to see black biometrics companies. We're not competing at all in those industries, and it's very unfortunate. We are doing low ceiling type businesses. We need to move beyond those.
Yeah, we do have to get out of that.
And that's why I brought that up, in careers and businesses. We need to attack, because our counterparts, you know, they're very systematic, and they know what type of. There's certain businesses that will never go out of style, that will never go bankrupt. I'm gonna give you one case in point: the recycled trash industry. That will never go out of business. You come here in Philly, every name on one of those trash trucks or these dumpsters. If you have a business, especially if you're in a restaurant, any type of business, you're going to have a dumpster. If you have a bar, a laundromat, anything, you have to have a dumpster. That's the law here. So you have to have a dumpster in front of that property, in front of your business. And I promise you, it's going to have a Mick or something ending in a vowel. So that's going to tell you that's an Irish or an Italian that owns that dumpster, and you have to deal with them. It's the law. It's just a flat-out law here. So, those are certain things that blacks that I think that when we talk about, you might meet a brother that says he got some money to invest, and you say, he'd be like, I don't know what to invest in. And you try to give them these ideas, but they might just be intimidated. I don't know, to make that jump, and that's also like the Brother Garfield trying to motivate these brothers to say, look, the opportunity is there. You just got to want to go get it. You
know what it is? It's because we're caught up in the, and I think Garfield said it too earlier, the rapper lifestyle. We're caught up in that type of flashiness, so it's like, a dump company? What the fuck am I do with a dump company? You feel me? But they don't even realize the endless opportunities that every business, like you just mentioned, whether it's a restaurant, retail store, whatever, it has to have a dump. It has to have a compact there, you know what I'm saying? And you charge it every month. Have it there and then to pick it up when it's scheduled to listen. You feel me? You make a contract with these people, and they just don't realize, the long term view, view of that. Just think of right now, I want to be flashy, so I could probably give me a gold chain, we call it a Range Rover, stuff like that. It's the rapper mentality. Hey, I'm not saying that every black person caught up with, with the flashy lifestyle. You know what? I don't. Hey,
Brother Kevin. You know what? Not to cut you off, but you brought up a good point, and I'm glad you mentioned that about gold chains and jewelry. Did you know metals right now? The value of metals, copper is still. This is number. I hate to put my people out there like that, but this is why you have the crackheads going and people breaking into people's houses and stealing all the copper pipes and stuff like that out their house. Because it's worth something. Let me tell you something. You know who's still going to be the biggest jeweler? The Ashkenazi Jew. He owns all the porn shops. That's why you got shows like that, Porn Stars and all that. Them guys are killing. They're just a hood bank. That's what they really are. They're hood banks.
Right.
But the metals, and I mean metals, I'm talking your silver, your copper, your brass, especially that copper. That's something that's something to value and will always hold its value. And a lot of people are not into the scrapping business. I have a friend of mine. He's an undesirable. I'm not going to call him, but he does his thing on the weekends. I'm not going to put him out there. But this is what he does for his life. He goes out scrapping. He got a dump truck. He rides around on every trash deck. He has it down packed. His money's not on the books, but this is what he does. He rides around. He picks people's trash. He looks at the abandoned houses. He goes around, let's say it's a construction site that just did some work. He's going to be the one to go in there and take all the pipes, and he's scrapping it. But, of course, he's going to go scrap it. A lot of the scrap yards here in Philly are owned by the Koreans now. The Italians don't even own them. The Koreans have them now. We got to be up in there. We need to be owning them scrap yards. It's nothing. You just buy a lot. It's a lot with a trash compactor. That's it. People come there, they weigh it, they weigh your truck, you weigh it when you pull in, they weigh it when you pull out. They give you a receipt and you cash it in with them. That's it. But that's just another business out there that a lot of us are not, venturing into. These are businesses that will never, ever go out of style. They will never dry up. The metal industry will always do this. We just get out of our minds, those flashy jewelry that these rappers, and like you said, like Brother Garfield said, that people want to live this rapper life that has no value. Those big gold chains you see Ira saying, he couldn't even probably pawn half that mess he had on. Because it's really all they're going to do is melt it down and turn it to something else.
Right, it's because we have that materialist culture. We have a culture of poverty. So everything is predicated on showing that we're not impoverished. And even though we are still impoverished. And another thing is that we haven't found our niche in America. Like after slavery, we just been trying to survive. Since then, all these other ethnic groups have come to America, and they've hit the shores with their niche. Like locally down here in D.C., the Ethiopians run almost every parking garage in the city. Like I said, the Asians run the corner stores and the Chinese carry out. The Arabs run they run the nightclubs and whatnot. The Arabs and the Pakistanis. and then, you know, white people had their corporate jobs in the government sector. So we have to find a niche that can employ a lot of us and can enrich and build wealth.
You know, people. You know what? I want to keep you on, brother, but make sure, man, I'm gonna keep you on. I want to take another caller, but I want to get that information from you, brother. I want to continue to build with you. I'm gonna write you down, Brother Knight. I'm gonna definitely friend you on Facebook. I definitely want to stay in contact with you, bring you on for another show.
Okay.
All right, brother. I'm just going to put you on hold just so you can still listen in. I may have to bring you back on. But let me take another caller. We're going to take a caller from the 703. Caller 703, you're live.
Hello?
Peace.
Peace.
How you doing, sister? What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Bridget, and I'm calling from Virginia.
Oh, awesome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
All right. You got a question for the Brother Garfield?
I was just, I saw the advertisement on Facebook, and it just kind of grabbed my attention, and I just thought I'd call in. And I just, was listening, and, I agree with everything that, you all spoke about, and I just wanted to share that, there are some women in this area that are doing, building their own businesses. I actually have my own business at the present time that I just started building on, and I'm doing natural healing techniques. I'm a Reiki master, and so I'm slowly building my business doing Reiki healing, which is a natural healing technique, and also doing spiritual mentorship and tarot and oracle readings as well. So that's the business space that I'm building at this time, and I'm also experienced in using crystals for healing as well.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, you can shout. What's your business name? You can shout it out. Put it out there, sister.
My business name is Beloved Light.
Do you have a website?
It's being built right now. Like I said, I'm just now recently pulling everything together. So I don't have a website right now, although I can give my email address. I can provide that.
Give out your email so people listening might want to contact. Do you have a Facebook like page or a Facebook page? Is anything to get contact with you?
Okay, well, the Facebook page for the business is under Beloved Light. My email is Beloved is spelled BELOVED 703 @gmail.com.
Okay, that's awesome. I mean, I definitely hope the ancestors bless you, and definitely a prosperous business. And I love to hear that. I love to hear black people building and trying to do what they do. And I hope you have the right guidance with you and people in your ear, and somebody like Brother Garfield is definitely somebody you should probably get in contact with for business advice and credits and debits. He's definitely educated on that. And just to have people around your hip, good around you, keep positive energies around you.
Most definitely.
But all right. Well, thank you for calling in. We're going to get ready to start wrapping up the show. Brother Garfield, you still there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to get ready to wrap up. I didn't even realize time flew that fast. 2 hours goes quick. But you know what? I'm glad you called in, brother. And I hope we can have you back in for a second show, man. I definitely want to have you on again.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm here. Whatever subject matter I'm needed for, I'm here 100%, man. All right. Let me also just give out the website again, affordablebusinessconsultants.org. And if anybody needs to hit me up, just hit me up on Facebook, Garfield A. Reid, and just leave a message. The code word is Empire. Just say Empire, and I'll know what you're talking about. I know you're
there it is.
Great show. All right, but thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate the love and respect, and I'm actually going to be in Philly on the 8th. I think, what is it, the 6th? The 6th of February?
Oh, we're going to see y'all there.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely going to be in the building.
All right.
Be a road trip. It's gonna be me and a couple of the team of service guys driving up, but I'll definitely be there. Definitely.
Well, we're definitely gonna build. We're definitely gonna build. We're gonna spend black money with black businesses. You know how we do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and thank you, brother, for chiming in with us. And you know what? I'm gonna just say this, to the people. In this country, for as long as we've been here, the Irish came here with literally just a potato. The Italians came here with heroin. They both came here through Ellis Island, and really both of them have only been here about 100 years. But they did one thing well, and that was practice group economics. They targeted the right careers of financial and political influence and infrastructure in this country, and that didn't even really require that much education, if any. But they stood by the code of manufacturing, distributing, supply, and demand. Those are the 4 basics of business. Out of any ethnic group in America, we've been here the longest but own the least, especially in our own communities. Nowhere in the dominant black community will you find a non-black community, you'll find a black person with a business. No Dominicans, Asians, Koreans, Arabs that own businesses in our communities live there. We can shut them down and shut them out. Practicing group economics will do that. Our solution is simple. Spend black, buy black, own black. That's it. There's black businesses out there. You got to find them. Go on the websites. I know Around the Way app, that was a good app. FindBlackBusiness.com. Go out of your way to find black businesses, spend money with them, And then you have to, have good intentions when you have inheritance and life insurance for the next generation. A lot of black people tend to fall short on those factors. But you know what? Strongly advise your children what to do with their monies when they invest it, And don't keep any secrets. That's one thing we got to stop doing. Don't keep secrets with your black people. If there's money opportunities out there, give those dimes, give those jewels to your people. You're only hurting yourself when you really do that because you're hurting your people. But, again, just like to give a shout-out to our Elder MQ. We're raising awareness group. I'd like to thank Brother Akil, ran the dashboard tonight for us. We got Brother Kevin Williams, myself, Afrikanis. You could always check us out. The show will be re-aired on our YouTube, at Raising Awareness Group. Check us out on our website. We have a Facebook page, too. And just thank for everybody who's just calling in, chiming in, listening to us. We're here every Wednesday, 8 o'clock. We're the Raising Awareness Group Blog Talk. And just thanks for listening. Peace.
Peace.